Mm, man, that song came out in 2001. Somebody getting old. It's y'all. It ain't me. But somebody getting old. My mama used to play that. It's the Acoustic Soul album from India Ari, 2001. Man, where's the time went? I remember being just a young man. And me and my sisters, we would hear that song so much because my mom played the paint off that CD, boy. She loved India Ari. But what a message. What a message. Strength, courage, and wisdom. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. And you know what? Today, it took a little of all three. I had a fantastic day. And it's not over. I guess at the time of this recording, it's 3:30. Hopefully, I could get it posted on the same day. But, we'll see what happens. But had just a good day today, man. I just, and that can tend to happen when you step out on faith, especially when things go the right way, man. Go the right way. Last week, uh, the week before last, uh, upper echelon, we went to this expo, right? And just a quick shout out. I would like to see more of y'all showing up to the Metropolitan Black Chamber events, especially when I go, because I be, wanting to see somebody I know or people that I know, and I know quite a few of y'all are business owners. So it would be beneficial to you to take advantage of those networking opportunities, because they're out there. But anyway, we went to this Black Expo or Bank Expo, right? Right. I got an opportunity to meet just a fantastic gentleman. I'm not gonna blast him on here, but I mean, if you pay attention to, or once you start paying attention to upper echelons posts or whatnot, you'll probably see him quite a bit. If the Lord bless. And, yeah, a great little event that they had. We had an opportunity to kind of do a little circuit and meet the different departments within that bank. And, well, hey, today I just followed up on it. Went and met with the brother today. And what just a positive, experience. And it's good to be around the edified members of the body, man, because they can really, you can really have something to relate to, especially when you're one of those people who have got a testimony. And I am a sucker for a good testimony. Love them, love them, love them. And, especially ones about overcoming. But hey, sometimes what it takes, and especially when you're ready to do your own thing and break away from those W-2s and step out on faith and do your own business and be your own boss and all those Instagram quotes you hear. Uh, but it can be very rewarding. So I met with this brother, and man, the potential that a partnership between Upper Echelon and this bank has, man, oh man, it would do just such a service to so many in the community. We already have quite a few nonprofit organizations and for-profit businesses that work with us, and I guess really one thing that we were pushing to do in the next chapter of our business is to really develop a strong relationship with funding sources, outside of grants. Because, man, everybody wants grants. That's the majority of the work that seems like comes, well, not the majority, but quite a bit of work that comes to my office is people who sit down here and say, I need the money to do this, but I don't want to pay nobody back for it. I want to get it for free. And man, finding free money, now that's hard. But yeah, got to meet with this brother, talk a little bit about the community. Where am I? Try to keep this one a little shorter. Ways that we can help uh, not only influence but impact the underserved and the vulnerable populations in the local community. Man, we exchanged some great ideas. But you know, one thing I'm really having fun with is when I get the opportunity to meet new people and you can connect with them um, on a personal level, right? Because that's what's really missing in business today. And everybody's trying to sell you something, and then you turn on the TV, the radio, Netflix, whatever, and you're just saturated with ads and commercials and a whole bunch of people telling you why you need their products. And after a while, man, that gets dull. That gets boring. I've even gotten to the point where I'm just muting commercials during programs I'm watching because I just heard it all, man. I've heard it all. But anyway, one thing we talked about, non-business related, that was really good is we talked about Job a little bit. If those of you familiar with the book of Job, an ancient source of wisdom with no origin date, so people don't really know, or theologians and historians can't really date the book. But to me, it's more of a book of poetry, and man, some of the most beautiful lines, some of the most thought provoking passages and all of ancient wisdom exists in this book. And so we chopped it up about it a little bit, and it was pretty good because one thing he was saying is how God will give you the desires of your heart, and that's absolutely correct. That's absolutely correct. But what about when you're honored by God or favored by Him in such a way that He actually recommends you to the devil? Isn't that just like, what? Have you considered my servant Job? What a question, like, man. For those of us regular people, who don't, we would think, don't recommend me for torment, or man, this man lost all of his possessions, all of his employees were dead. Okay, all of his livestock, so really his wealth was destroyed, and all this happened in a single day. But the most impactful thing that happened to Mr. Job was his children. His children, you know, man, his children all dying in a single event. You know, and what sticks out to me about that, and that's not what I was going to talk about today, but I just want to cover it because I talked about it in the meeting. They died from, the witness who came to Job to tell him that his children were dead told him that they perished because of this great wind. This great wind came and struck the house down. You know what I mean? And it fell, and everybody's dead. And the only person that lived was this servant who was coming to tell Job what happened. And man, what really sticks out to me is at the end of that book, after you go through some just beautiful lines of poetry, right, and examples of sorrow that brother Job was facing, you know, God comes in the 38th chapter of that book, and he like, ooh, can just blow your mind with some of the questions that he was asking him. I mean, like, where were you when I laid the foundations of the earth? Questions like that. Or where were you when I set the boundaries of the waters as they came bursting forth from the womb? I mean, just beautiful, beautiful lines. And one thing I was just mentioning was, like I said, the kids, they died from this great wind coming to hit the house. And then God comes and shows up to Job and speaks to him from a whirlwind. I mean, wow, wow. And there are times, and I'm a living witness to this, that God will use the greatest source of your pain as his witness to his goodness, and how he is able to just change your life in an instant. Wow. Wow. That's not what I was going to talk about. But I can talk about Job all night, all day. I love the book of Job. But anyway, but yeah. So I had a great meeting, right? And got to talk about all those things and connect on a personal level. And man, this is going to be very beneficial to our clientele and to all you who are going to engage in a relationship with us in the future. Because now we'll be able to, if all goes well, have a funding source behind some of the information that we're giving out to you for free and the work that we're putting behind it. So, wow, that's great. That's great. But you want to have, I guess, really what I just wanted to cover in this short video is you want to have confidence in what you're bringing to the table. Um, and the example I'm going to use is going to be the story of Cain and Abel, which so many are familiar with. However, we're going to be looking at it in a different light. We're going to be looking at Cain, the perspective from Cain, and that's often glossed over, right? But it's, to me, Cain is more relatable to Abel in the story. Oh yeah, especially for me. So yeah. Just confidence in what you're bringing to the table. Even though you might think that it's not the best, if you bring your best and put your best forward, you'll be accepted. You may not be, it may not be the greatest, but you will be accepted. You will be accepted. So, word to the wise is be an Abel man, not a Cain. And you preachers, y'all can have this for free. You don't have to send me no money for this. I won't trademark it or nothing. So, anyway. So, I guess everybody is familiar. Well, maybe not. We'll just basically cover the story in just a moment. I have to go back a little bit to provide just a little bit of context, exactly who Cain is and his significance to the human race. So after the great transgression that has us all in the situation that we're in today, right? There are 3 curses that God pronounces on the earth, the man, and the woman. And focusing on the curse on the woman, after he tells her, the pain and the sorrow that she'll get from will be increased from when she brings children. He said something, that is really you don't hear it too often because we kind of live in this new age society where we want to make sure everything is at an equal level, all right, and in particular gender. And so he tells her, your desire shall be for your husband, and he shall rule over you. Now that's just saying that can get you canceled. I mean, it's risky just kind of putting that out there. Because like I said, everybody wants everything to be at this equal level when, there are differences and there are a natural order to things. And I guess the best way to describe it for me is consider the human body, right? You have the head, you have the body, right? And the head is a part of the body, definitely. However, your brain has the information necessary for all the rest of your other organs to be in compliance and to reach that certain level of homeostasis. I know y'all remember that word, homeostasis, which is that equilibrium that your body hopes to continue to operate on, an even keel, right? So your brain has all the information and it sends this information to all your bodily organs. Your heart beats, right? But it doesn't, it beats on a rhythm that the brain sets. Your kidneys filter out the liquids in your body and the blood, however the correct recipe, if you will, is given. by the brain. You know, your liver adds uh, enzymes and uh, whatnot to your bloodstream to help you, help with circulation and help you to continue to live. But your brain carries all this information. However, your brain can't perform the functions of these organs. So think of the family in that same way. You know, if a man is the head, right? Yeah, he's the brain. He may have all the information necessary, the wisdom necessary to make sure that the body is running in the correct rhythm and patterns. However, the brain cannot pump blood. Only the heart can do that. Your brain cannot filter filter the blood and the liquids in your body. Only your kidneys and can do that. Your brain cannot. Um, what? Your brain cannot breathe oxygen in and out. It's something that only your lungs can do. Right. So while they all work in agreement with each other, they're not equal. You know, they can't live without one or the other, but they're not equal. You know, there are functions and there are jobs, and so same thing with the family, right? There are functions and jobs. A woman can bring forth children, a man cannot. A man can plant a seed, a woman cannot. It's just the natural order of things. But anyway, he says to her, God says to her, your desire will be for your husband and he'll rule over you. And we don't really get, well, the answer to that, or the answer to what, to that Eve thought, at least, was when she had her first son, right? So she has her first son, Cain, and when he's born, she makes the exclamation of, the Lord has given me a man. I have acquired a man from the Lord, right? So even this isn't the answer to your curse, but she kind of make it seem like it is in the passage, right? And so, um, one day, right? They Abel and Cain, Abel being a keeper of the sheep, Cain being a tiller of the ground, right? It was time for them to bring an offering, or to bring the fruits of their labor, right, to God. And it's just like a job. You have a certain responsibility, whether you're an accountant, a bookkeeper, a forklift driver, a salesman. You know, you your work still has to be brought before a supervisor or a manager or a reviewer, to make sure that it's done correctly and done in a way that's profitable for the business. So the same thing just happened here, right? And what I really want to focus on is the emotions. And this one was kind of more leaning towards my brothers, even though, wisdom can be applied to either sex. But, fellas, I think it's a myth that women are, I think it's a myth that women are more emotional than men. I believe that women have more of a gray area when it comes to emotions. They can be kind of angry, and still be walking around happy. They can be kind of sad, and still be walking around in a joyous mood. They can be grieving, yet, still able to show mercy and love to other people that they love. Now, men, and this is coming from a man, baby, straight up. It's like, if I'm mad, nigga, I'm mad. I don't be having no room for nothing else but anger. All right. If I'm happy, or full of joy, like I was after my meeting today. I was just elated. If I'm full of joy, then that's my mood. I mean, there are a list of things that I could be upset about. But at that moment, I wasn't thinking about that. I was only thinking about the joyous thing that happened to me, right? So we don't have as much gray area as women, but I say that we're more emotional because we can stay in these moods, and we're judged. You can have 2 minutes, you can be as angry as I mean, just furious. And I can speak for experience. Other times I've just been just filled with rage, but it's only been for like 3 or 4 minutes. However, it sticks to you and sticks to your reputation as a man. 2, 3, 4 minutes of rage, and you are labeled this angry, abusive, um, just evil, wicked person. When that's not you. That was literally 4 minutes of your 31 years of living. I mean, what kind of scale is that, bro? What kind of scale is that, bro? But unfortunately, that's how it is for us. And we're never rewarded as men for keeping our cool. The times where we just wanted to just, and we didn't. There's nobody going, congratulations, KB, you didn't smack the crap out that thing. There's nobody doing that. There's nobody going, oh, all right, yeah. You were mad enough to choke him out, but you didn't. Congratulations. Here's a ribbon. Man, so Cain, Cain brings his offering to God. He brings the fruits of his work, right? And God just kind of dismisses it like, you could do better. Doesn't necessarily say you can do better, but it was just like, yeah. But then Abel comes and he brings the firstborn of his flock. I mean, the prime, the best that he had, right? He brought the best that he had, and of course that was accepted. So Cain, like any man, gets upset, like all of us do, man. I'm telling you, we're much more like Cain than Abel. So we get upset, because you rejected our hard work, you know, and that goes so much deeper than just like, even though I'm talking in more of a religious scope today, only because that's just what I've been on all day. But I mean, think about it even in your relationships and your job, fellas. Like, when you've done it, you've worked. Yeah, it may not be the very best you did, but you did it, right? And you get no recognition for it. You get nothing for it. And sometimes they look at it and go, not good enough. Man, that cuts deep. Oh man, I'm a witness. That cuts deep, deep. You know what I mean? And who knows? We only hear about this one particular time. What about those other times, that I brought the best of what I had, right? Or I brought something really good to the table, right? And you accepted it then. But this particular time, you're looking at what I've done and you're saying, not good enough. Not good enough. Man, them 3 words hurt. Them three words cut a man deep. Not good enough. They will haunt you. They'll haunt you in your work. They can haunt you in your creativity and your imagination. You're not, they can just hang over you. So what can we do as men to respond, right? What is the right way to respond? What is the wrong way to respond? Now, Getting upset is just human nature. Being angry is just human nature, you know. But what comes after that, right? I'm angry, right? But what are my next steps, fellas? If my next, and this is all from experience, if I'm angry and my next step is depression, my face, my face has just dropped. I mean, my head is hung low. I'm hot. Okay, I'm hot. I'm, I'm, I'm so angry and so stuck in the way that I feel and the reaction that you gave to whatever I did, it has caused me so much instability in my emotion that I am just ready to just quit. I'm ready to just quit, And the scripture gives us just great insight. I'm going to read it. God says to Cain after he got really angry, right? And this is before he kills his brother. He gets really angry. God says to him, "Why are you angry? Why has your countenance fallen, or why has your face fallen? If you do well, will you not be accepted? And if you do not do well, sin lies at the door, and its desire is for you, but you should rule over it." Man, that is the challenge, right? That's the challenge for every man walking the earth, ruling his own desires. Because in us, man, we want to go off, man. We want to go off, man. And a lot of us have a certain level of temperance and restraint. Some of us don't have as much. And I'm not here to judge, because there are some things that I can take for a while, and there's some things that I'll get with you about quick. So anyway. So the challenge is how to subdue your desire and your emotion. Cain, he did not heed that advice, and he did what's within every man. He reacted in a violent way. You know what? I'm gonna say this, and it may sound weird, but I don't care. I don't care. I'm a bigger guy, right? I'm a taller guy. I'm a I weigh more than most men. You know, not bragging, but I'm stronger than most just naturally. So I know there's a caveman instinct in me that knows, well, hey, sometimes and it's the truth, I'm just being honest. Sometimes when I'm without something, and I see somebody else with it, it's in the back of my head that I could just rock this nigga's dome and have everything and take all of his stuff. A couple punches, a few hits in the right place, and I can have all his stuff, man. With just the right amount of force on that front door, I could kick it in, right, and take everything from you. And this is just transparency. This is just transparency. And I know it exists because every time I've been pulled over by the police, they made me get out the car. Like they say, "Oh, whoa, 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 no, I'm gonna need you to step out, big fella. I'm gonna need you to get out the car, please." So I know that exists naturally. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, but it's temperance, it's self control, it's justice within your mind, that makes you not act out in these ways. And those things, that is how you subdue those emotions, those desires, those base desires that make you want to just kill your brother. Because don't act like you ain't been mad enough. Do not sit here, watch my video, and act like you have not been mad enough, that the thought hasn't passed through your head that I can just I could rectify this with violence. So that is our mission, fellas. To be an Abel man, not a Cain't. To be more like Abel. Put our best foot forward. The best that we have. Right? Not just submitting something and then be stuck in our feelings. Just doing the bare minimum and then be so stuck in our feelings that we're now subject to sin lying at the door, or envy and jealousy and murder popping up in our heads. And this come on, man. This is our struggle, fellas. I think about Donald Trump. Am I the biggest Donald Trump fan? No. No. But when that assassination attempt happened, man, that shook me a little bit, because here's this 20-year-old kid, right? Here's this 20-year-old kid who just attempted to kill a president. I mean, whoa, what? Talk about being stuck in a thought process, stuck in some feelings, man. That you're gung ho. You ready to, and he did risk it all. You're ready to put it all on the line, subdue it, and be its master. That is our struggle. When we get into the habit of subduing our desires, in particular our base and natural desires that make us want to act out in violent ways, that fill us with jealousy and jealous rage, and fills us with envy, malice, lasciviousness, these things that can run amok in our heads, man, in our heads, man. You know, this is how we subdue it. We subdue it with justice and and bravery and compassion. So I just want to leave you with this last quote, because, like I said, I want to keep this shorter than my last video. You know, now this isn't Bible. This is not Bible. I love Bible, but I also love my other ancient sources of wisdom, right? And I believe, I don't think that there's enough pages in the Bible to be able to hold all the wisdom that is in the world, right? But there is a certain passage that's in this letter, right? That is an ancient source. It's possibly older than some of the books of the Old Testament. I mean, the New Testament, right? And the quote is, and it's a book on philosophy, in particular, in the particular philosophy of creation, right? And to me, it just sums up the nature of a man, right? And I'm gonna leave this with you, with this, brothers and sisters. If you're watching, it's something that you can share with your husbands, your brothers, your sons, nephews. All right, it says, "For in the day when God created man, He implanted in him his passions and inclinations, and also, at the very same time, set the mind on a throne amidst the senses, that the mind be his sacred guide in all things, and to the mind God gives the law, by the which, if a man order himself, he shall reign over a kingdom that is temperate and just and virtuous and brave." Yes, fellas, you are a king, not in the sense of territory and property and lands, right? And realms and lordship, but here is where your kingdom begins. Not only that, this is your guide, right? This is how we go through every day. That's why it's important that we remember to subdue our emotions and desires, to remember the law, Remember the law, because that is what gives us our ruling authority, right? That is what we defend. Any king, president, whatever that is in the world today, their job, their job is to defend their law. It's literally written in the U.S. Constitution, right? Defending the law. So get to a point in your head where you are not only applying the law, but defending it, even against yourself, man, and the desires that rise up within you. Subjected to the law. If you're a man, okay, my example, right? I know that I can get angry, right? And it takes me a minute to get angry, but over some things. But I know that I can get angry enough to do something that can jeopardize my future. And because I know this, when I feel myself getting hot, I either have to remove myself from a situation and hey, you know what? People have to just deal with it because I could get mad and ruin years worth of relationships and friendships. Or I can take time, step away from it, calm down, and then respond adequately and according to the law that I defend within my own mind. So I love you all once again, man. Appreciate you for listening. I'll probably be doing this probably once a week or so because it just feels good to get out. It does. I was doing it on some live streams originally, and my live streams weren't that popular. Like I might have been getting 40, 50 views on them. So the videos tend to go a little further. Man, I will be posting this up to my YouTube channel. So thank you for taking the time and hearing me out. Also, go ahead, feel free to give me some feedback. Uh, I'm never left, but I ain't always right, baby. So I'm willing to accept correction and to listen and to hear your viewpoints, man. Like I said, I'm not only a sucker for good testimony, but I love wisdom. Love it, love it, love it, love it. And whenever I can apply it to my own life, I do. So thank you all once again.